Welcome to this reconvened planning meeting, reconvened from the 12th of December. Today is the Thursday, the 16th of January 2025. May I start by wishing those who I haven't spoken to before a Happy New Year, and ask for apologies for absence in the first instance.
Thank you, Chair. There have been no apologies through to myself.
Thank you, nor do I. Are there any apologies for absence from members of the committee that we are aware of? I see no hands, so I assume there are not. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest and the nature of such interests under the Council's Code of Conduct. Are there any declarations of interest? Again, I see no hands, so I assume there are not. Before we move on to agenda item 3, I would like to draw committee members' attention to the email we received yesterday with the 2 urgent items. One, clarifying the minutes from the 12th, and the other expanding on the reasons for our decision at that meeting on the Lidl application. These will come to our next meeting for ratification, but in the meantime, are we all happy with those 2 emails, those 2 pieces in the email? Yeah. I see no hands. In that case, that we can move on. Right, we come to agenda item 3, land at Model Farm, Port Road, Roos. Can I ask Marianne, you come on screen? I can't hear you.
Thank you, Chair. Just to let you know that I am here. Apologies, I was a minute or 2 late.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marianne. Right, so the land at Model Farm, Port Road, Roos, I believe either Rob or Annabelle are going to introduce this for our benefit. There you are, Rob Chichester.
Hi, good afternoon, Councillor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Thank you. If you'd like to just introduce this, and then we can move on to the discussion under part 2.
Okay, so today's meeting, members will be aware that on the 29th of March 2023, the authority were notified that the applicants had submitted an appeal against non-determination. The formal submission of the appeal against non-determination removed the authority's ability to make any formal decision on the application, as the application was now within the jurisdiction of the Planning and Environment Decisions Wales, PEDW. On the 18th of May 2023, a special planning committee was held to provide members with an update on the status of the application. Members were informed that the applicants had submitted an appeal to Planning and Environment Wales, citing the reason for the appeal as failure of the LPA to give its decision within the appropriate period on an application for planning permission. In line with the advice provided by external consultants at the meeting, members discussed the specific reasons for refusal they would have provided had they had the opportunity to determine the application. They subsequently voted on whether they wished to defend the authority's position at appeal. The motion in support of defending the authority was passed, and further to the discussion of the application at the Planning Committee meetings on the 1st of March 2023 and the 18th of May 2023, the following punitive reasons for refusal were agreed. In the absence of any up-to-date preliminary ecology appraisal, the proposed development fails to appraise the biodiversity interests of the site. Therefore, the proposed development fails to incorporate, conserve, or enhance biodiversity interests, as those biodiversity interests have not been quantified in the first instance. As a result, the development is contrary to the requirements of policies SP1, MD2, and criteria 10, MD9, and MG19 of the Vale of Glamorgan Development Plan 2011 and 2026. The second reason for refusal, a punitive reason for refusal, stated the proposed development, by virtue of its layout, scale, and massing, would have a harmful impact on the setting of historic assets. The benefits of the scheme are not considered to outweigh the identified harm to the designated heritage assets. Proposed development is therefore contrary to policies SP10 and MD8 of the Vale of Glamorgan Development Plan 2011 to 2016. Confirmation of the validation of the appeal was received by the authority on the 11th of November 2024. PEDU have confirmed that the appeal is to be determined on the basis of a public inquiry, which is to be held on the 1st to the 4th of April 2025, with closing statements on the 8th, closing statement session on the 8th of April. The appeal was due to be determined by an inspector in accordance with the Town and Country Planning Act. However, in exercising their powers, the Welsh ministers considered the appeal should be determined by themselves. This means that instead of writing a decision, the inspector will prepare a report, which will be forwarded to the Welsh ministers for a decision. The reason for this direction is that the proposed development is for a major development which could have wide effects beyond their immediate locality. On review of the submitted appeal documents by the agent, it was apparent that the appeal documents now include new evidence which are considered material to determination of this appeal. The new evidence in the form of environmental statements was requested by PEDU in its own completeness report issued in respect to the appeal. The environmental statements supersede the original environmental statements dated July 2019 and the subsequent addendum dated April 2021. The rationale behind the receipt of the new environmental statements is that when in determining the plan and appeal, there is sufficient information to allow it to be properly assessed and the likely significant environmental effects of the scheme. Whilst the council have submitted their statement of case, a meeting has been organised with the planning committee members to discuss the merits of the new evidence, which in turn will inform the council's position when providing their final comments on the appeal to PEDU. Following a request from the council, PEDU granted an extension of time for the submission of final comments until the 20th of January 2025 to allow members to further consider the new evidence submitted as part of the appeal procedure. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I suggest we now move into part two.
Yes. Happy to second that.
Thank you. In that case, could you stop the live stream and we'll move to part two.
Oh, there we go. Yes, Chair, we are now recording.
Right, thank you very much, Amy. Right, thank you very much, committee and our officers and advisors. We've had a very robust, very strong discussion and very constructive, I think, in terms of what we talked about. Can I ask Annabelle Paul to read out the conclusion resolution?
Thank you, Chair. So I'm just going to read out what has been discussed. And so it's been discussed whether the council wishes to resolve that A, reason for refusal 1 has been superseded by the submission of new ecological evidence that was not before the council at the time when it resolved its putative reasons for refusal. And so reason for refusal 1 is withdrawn. And B, upon revisiting the weighing of the harm to heritage assets against the benefits in light of the new evidence, the council also withdraws putative reason for refusal 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Annabelle. Charles, Councillor Champion.
I'd like to propose that we accept that wording.
Thank you. So you're moving the resolution. Do I have a second? Councillor Buckley, thank you for seconding. Councillor Wilson has his hand up.
I support that as well.
Yeah, are there any members who are opposed to this wording? Get your hand up now. Councillor Bruce, you have your hand up. In that case, we will go to a vote.
Yeah.
Okay, Chair, in light of moving to a vote, we are operating through Microsoft Teams, so we'll have to take a vote through roll call. So if I can call the names of each committee member, please, and could you please indicate whether you are for, against, or abstaining in this vote. So could I start, please, with Councillor Aviat?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Bruce?
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Buckley?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Cave?
Against.
Councillor Champion?
For.
Councillor Cowp?
For.
Councillor Drake, please.
For.
Councillor Ernest?
For.
Councillor Gilligan?
For.
Councillor Hodges?
For.
Councillor Johnson, please.
For.
Councillor Payne?
For.
Councillor Perry?
Against.
Councillor Stallard, please.
I'd like to abstain.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas?
For.
Councillor Williams, please.
Eddie, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes, for.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. And finally, Councillor Wilson, please.
For.
So by my count, Chair, that makes 13 for, 3 against and 1 abstention. So
That's
that
my
motion
count
is
as well.
carried.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Thank you for the discussion as well that we had. It was very good. Thank you for your attendance. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.
And thank you to Annabelle and Rob particularly as well for your advice and your hard work.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.